5. Clues. You're one step away from achieving success. The treadmill moment. Ever feel like you're sprinting on a treadmill stuck at the same speed? Alarm goes off at 5 a.m. Laptop glow at midnight, heart pounding with the same dream you've chased for months or years. And yet, the scoreboard doesn't budge. Friends tilt their heads when you talk about it. Mom slips you job postings, just in case. And that little voice in the back of your head? It's getting louder. Maybe I'm just not the one. But what if that heaviness, bone-tired, doubt-soaked, why is nothing moving, isn't the end? What if it's the signal, the sign that the door you've been leaning on is finally cracking open and one last push will swing it wide? Stay right here, because in the next few minutes, I'll walk you through 5 quiet signs that the finish line is closer than it looks. And if even one of them feels familiar, promise me this. Don't hit pause. Don't give up. You're almost there. Sign 1. Tiny wins start stacking like Legos. Momentum doesn't feel like fireworks. It rarely comes with a marching band or a dramatic movie moment. Most of the time, it feels almost boring. It's the grocery line that suddenly moves faster while you're scrolling Instagram. It's opening your inbox to see 3 replies to your cold emails instead of none. It's realizing you added 10 pounds to your squat without even noticing. It's your checking account nudging up not because of some giant windfall, but because 3 new clients found you organically. On paper, these moments look embarrassingly small. Only 47 extra, just 1 new subscriber, barely a bump. Tension. But here's the truth. Tiny wins don't live in isolation. They snap together, click, 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 like Legos. And once the structure starts forming, every new piece fits faster and easier than the last. Psychologists call this the compound interest effect. Each micro-success doesn't just add, it multiplies. It builds confidence, rewires your brain, and accelerates the next win. Here's where people fail. They mistake whispers for silence. They look at those tiny numbers and think, it's not enough. They quit right before the breakthrough, right when the chain reaction was about to explode. Don't be that person. Here's your practice. Every time a small win happens, call it out. Write it on a sticky note, slap it on your monitor, and let the wall of proof grow in front of you. Watch how quickly the board fills. Because those tiny Lego blocks, they're the foundation of empires. Sign 2. The question changes from, will this work, to, how do I optimize this? Think back to when you first started chasing your dream. Your brain was on repeat. Will this even work? Will anyone care? What if I fail? That's the soundtrack of doubt. And it drains energy faster than any workout. But then, without noticing exactly when the question changes, suddenly, instead of begging the universe for a yes or no, you're tinkering with details. You're not asking, will anyone buy? You're asking, which subject line converts best? You're not panicking over whether you're good enough. You're analyzing heat maps, testing captions, comparing click-through rates. That subtle shift? It's massive. Psychologist Carol Dweck calls it the growth mindset. The moment you believe effort moves the needle, your brain rewires itself. The anterior cingulate cortex, the part that usually lights up like a panic alarm, shuts down the fear mode and flips into strategy mode. Obstacles don't look like stop signs anymore. They look like Sudoku puzzles. And here's the real proof. You catch yourself going days, maybe weeks, without muttering, I suck at this. Instead, failure becomes data. Mistakes turn into information. And every setback feels like raw material for the comeback. That's clue number 2. When your inner dialogue has moved from, will this work, to, how do I optimize it? You're not at the starting line anymore. You're halfway up the hill, and the ground is about to tilt in your favor. Sign 3. Your phone contacts shrink, but the signal gets clearer. Here's a truth nobody warns you about. Success begins with subtraction. When you start pushing toward a big goal, people vanish. The college buddy who used to like every post goes silent. The coworker who always had time for happy hour suddenly forgets to invite you. Aunt Karen sends you job listings at the postal service just in case your little project doesn't pan out. And it stings. It feels like loneliness. But look closer, because while the crowd is thinning, new voices start appearing. A stranger who read your blog twice slides into your DMs with questions. A mastermind partner checks in every Monday, holding you accountable. A new client pays in full and says the magic words, "I believe in what you're building," when it's storm. Harvard's 75-year longitudinal study on adult development found this exact pattern. Within 2 years of a major leap, most achievers replace nearly 70% of their social circle. The pruning feels painful, but it's actually filtration. The voices that remain, they're clearer, stronger, focused on possibility, not panic. So if your group chat shrank from 20 people to 3 who actually get it, don't panic. That's clue number 3. The universe isn't punishing you, it's trimming the dead weight, so your jetpack has lift. Because you don't need 100 voices in your corner, you need the right few who amplify your signal when it matters most. Sign 4. The risk you've circled starts looking like the safer choice. You know that decision you've been circling for months? Raising your rates, quitting the side gig, launching the bold campaign you've sketched and deleted 10 times. Every time you almost hit send, your stomach flips, your hands sweat. Fear whispers, "Too risky." Not yet. But then something shifts. The flip in your stomach doesn't disappear, but it changes flavor. Suddenly, standing still feels more dangerous than moving forward. That's the threshold neuroscientists call the switch cost moment. It's when inaction becomes more painful than action. The brain stops screaming, "What if I leap and fail?" and starts whispering, "What if I never leap at all?" Maya felt this before quitting her comfortable job. The paycheck felt safe, the routine familiar, but every morning her chest felt heavier. Then one day she realized staying was the bigger risk. Within weeks, she drafted her exit letter. Here's the sign. When the risk you've been circling finally feels like the safer bet, you're not being reckless, you're being ready. Your nervous system has already rehearsed the leap so many times that action now feels inevitable. So if you're feeling that itch, if the idea of doing nothing makes your stomach twist harder than the thought of failing, that's not fear anymore. That's inevitability. And inevitability is clue number 4, that opening night has arrived. Sign 5. The mental fog lifts at dawn. You've been grinding in the dark for months, messy notes, tangled plans, 50 browser tabs open, and none of them making sense. Every step feels like pushing through fog. Then one random morning it clears. The elevator pitch that always felt clunky suddenly writes itself in the shower. You see exactly who your offer helps and why they'll care. The strategy that looked like chaos suddenly snaps into 3 clean moves. Entrepreneurs call this moment seeing the whole chessboard. Psychologists call it an insight flash, the brain connecting scattered fragments into one coherent picture. It feels eerie at first, almost too simple. You'll catch yourself thinking, "Wait, that's it?" Yes, that's it. Your shoulders drop, your calendar shrinks to what actually matters. The endless to-do list fades into 3 high-leverage actions. The fog doesn't just lift, it reveals a map that's been under your feet the whole time. That sudden clarity? That's clue number 5. It's the universe's way of handing you the compass right before the treasure. Don't second-guess it. Don't overcomplicate it again. Simplify, act, advance. Because when the mental fog lifts, it's not a coincidence. It's the final signal that you're standing one step away from breakthrough. Which one hit home? Pause for a second. Out of these 5 clues, which one felt like it was written with you in mind? Was it the Lego wins stacking quietly in the background? Was it your brain shifting from, will this work, to, how do I optimize it? Was it the shrinking friend list that suddenly feels sharper, cleaner? Was it that risk you've been circling finally looking like the safer choice? Or was it the morning when clarity hit you so hard it felt like the fog had never been there at all? Drop a number in the comments. 1 for momentum, 2 for mindset, 3 for circle shift, 4 for risk readiness, 5 for clarity. I read every single reply, and I'll answer with a tip tailored to where you are right now. Because this isn't just theory, it's your story unfolding, and sometimes all it takes is naming the clue out loud to see just how close you are to the finish line.